Well, in the business studio today with me is Tendai Ruben Mbofana, a Zimbabwean journalist and social justice advocate. He's a well-known critic of the Mnangagwa government and politicians, who he argues often lack success in their private endeavors and then turn to public office for opportunities. Well, good morning, Tendai. Welcome to BizNews.
Thank you so much, Linda. I'm glad to be here. I feel honored to be on your program. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you and welcome to your viewers as well.
Just to set the scene before we talk about politicians, how would you characterize Zimbabwe's current situation?
In a word, I would say worrying. We've been in this state for the past 2.5 decades. As you would know, we've gone through periods of hyperinflation, which have never left us. We are now on our 6th currency, local currency. In the past 20 years, we've changed our currencies 6 times. Unemployment is over 90% unemployment. So you find that most of our youth, they are now relying mostly on informal trading, sitting by the roadside, selling airtime vouchers, bananas, vegetables. 80%, as it said, 80% of our population is living below the poverty datum line. They're living in poverty. And nearly 50% are in extreme poverty. They cannot even afford to put food on their table. They cannot even afford to send their children to school. So if you find that you're in a country where nearly half the population cannot put food on the table, half the population cannot send their children to school, that is not a pretty picture to paint. This is a country that is headed for disaster. It's my country. I love my country. I want to see my country succeed. But on this trajectory that we are on right now, the picture doesn't look good at all. On the political front, we are seeing a lot of corruption that is taking place. I think even you guys abroad, you hear some of the outrageous stories of a few individuals who are getting these multi-million-dollar public tenders without going to tender. Most of the work is not even fulfilled. It's not even completed. When it's completed, it's half done. And these are people who are so unashamed in flaunting their wealth. They are buying the latest Lamborghinis, the latest Bugattis, Ferraris. They're living in huge, massive mansions, giving away cars like confetti, just buying cars for everyone in cash. And this is in a country, as I said, with 80% of the people living below the poverty datum line. So if you're in leadership, how do you reconcile the two? When you are a leader, do you honestly sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm doing a great job? No, you can't. You can't. Zimbabwe is richly endowed, just like with South Africa and so many other African countries. We've got lithium, we've got copper, we've got gold, we've got platinum, we've got diamonds, you name it, we have it here. And yet we are living as if we're in some godforsaken wasteland somewhere which doesn't even have a single resource to talk about. Look at Botswana, our neighbor. They only have diamonds, as far as I know. And yet, yes, they're not living, a first world life, but they're okay. They're okay with just one mineral. And yet, here we are in Zimbabwe with some say even over 60 precious minerals. And you have 80% of the population living in poverty. Teachers earning $250 a month. Nurses, $250 a month. What are you supposed to buy with that? Our mothers, our fathers, the pensioners, they're getting $50 a month in pension. $50. A loaf of bread is $1, just to give perspective. So that money is enough for just over 30 loaves of bread per month. And these are people who need medication. Most of our parents are not well. They need medication. They need a roof to begin with. They need to pay rent. They need to pay electricity, the utilities, water. Not even to mention food that we need to survive. So honestly, if you're a leader and you know that your elderly people in that country are earning $50 a month, how do you sleep at night? Honestly, how do you sleep at night?
So, do you think that politics in Zimbabwe is seen as a pathway to those riches, and and that's why they become politicians?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Um, we've come a long way. This country was not established in 1980. Zimbabwe, as the country that we know today, was formed in 1890 after the colonial, whatever it was, colonization. So we've had leaders before 1980. They never lived like this. Even Smith, as much as everyone would like to vilify Ian Smith, the last prime minister of colonial Rhodesia, he was a farmer, simple life. He was not living in obscene wealth. He was just a modest man. Why did he go into politics? I don't know. But from what I think is that he loved the country. He was born here. He was a product of this country. He loved this country. He wanted to see this country grow. This is a truth that most of our people don't want to hear. That hate them or love them, the colonialists built this country from scratch, from waste, from a bush forest, whatever it was, to build the cities, the high-rise buildings, the houses. Here, where I am, this house was built in 1973. It's a legacy of colonialism where I am right now. So if you build something, you love it, you're attached to it. You don't want to see any harm come to it. You want to see it prosper. Then we come in 1980. We don't build anything. We're just seeing this like a child, with a spoiled little child who's just inherited his parents' wealth that he never worked a day for. The only thing that you think about is spending it and spending it and spending it until you have nothing. So that's why you find these people in power. They have all this wealth. They are living in obscene wealth. And yet our roads are potholes. We can't drive right now. All our roads, most of them, they cannot even be driven on. Otherwise, our cars will be damaged. We go for hours without electricity. Where I stay here, where I am right now, we have not had any running water in 5 years. So we end up, if you've got the resources, put together resources, you drill a bore. Right now, I use bore water. But how many people can afford to drill a bore in Zimbabwe? And this is a town. I'm not in a rural area. I'm in a city, in an urban area. We are supposed to have water. That's what an urban area is. That's why my mother left the rural areas and my father left the rural areas in the 60s and to come to town because there was electricity, there was water, there were good houses, there were good schools. But now that has been wiped away. We no longer have electricity every time. As I said, we have not had water in this town, in this suburb where I'm staying in for 5 years. We have basically gone back to rural areas. Our schools, my school where I went to, just nearby, I used to be proud of that school. It was wonderful. It's a former Group A school, which were previously for white people. I went there after independence. But right now, you go there, you'll be shocked. You just feel like crying, and you just look at it and say, "Is this really the school that I went to?" Everything is just destroyed. Everything is dysfunctional. Nothing is maintained. There are no books, adequate books. It's shameful. So why are these people in power? Why did they go into power when they cannot do the most basic of what they claimed to be doing this for, to give us a better life, to maintain a country, to develop a country, and yet they are living in wealth. They weren't there for wealth. That's why they're prepared to kill for that privilege to be in power. As I mentioned, we've come a long way from Rhodesia. I've never heard of Smith killing opponents. Governments changed during the colonial era. This leader will come in, this party will come in, this one will be voted out of power, this one will come in. But ever since independence, we've never had the constitutional democratic transfer of power. Never. And yet we are claiming that we are the ones who fought for independence. We are the ones who fought for democracy. We are the ones who brought democracy. No one should lecture us about democracy. Where is the democracy that we brought? Where we never had a free and fair election since 1980. People are killed so that these ones can remain in power. Why are you prepared to kill other people just so that you remain in power? What is there in power that you want to preserve, that you cannot even imagine leaving it behind? It's the wealth. It's the privilege of
So,
access to resources. That's what they want, the control of resources to enrich themselves while the rest of us are left with nothing.
Tendai, what kind of lessons are there in for South Africa in the Zimbabwean experience?
The lessons for South Africa are for the people themselves of South Africa. Do not let this narrative of having fought for democracy, for independence, blind you to the looting and the mismanagement of those in power. That's the excuse that they always fall back on. They make you feel indebted to them, and it makes them feel entitled to everything. They see this, that we died, we sacrificed, we're thrown in prison for this country. So for them, it's now their property. They can do whatever they want with it. They actually see these countries as their own personal properties, taxpayers' money, which should be used to develop schools and roads and uplift people's lives, put medication in hospitals. They see that as their personal property, the entitlement. So it's for us, the people. We allowed this to reach this stage. From 1980 to 1990, we treated people like Mugabe as heroes. We literally worshipped the ground these people walked on. So we gave them that power. So for Mugabe to turn around and become the monster that he became, we created that monster. We cannot run away from that fact. If we had put him in place from day one and say, you are here to serve us, not to serve yourself and your family, you are there and we'll hold you accountable. And if you fail, we'll kick you out. That's what the South Africans should be doing right now. They shouldn't be looking at ANC and as these liberators, and we need to honor them for liberating us. Or else, if we vote maybe for the DA, we are going back to apartheid. And we do no. Apartheid is gone. It's not coming back. There's no way it's going to come back. Focus on the future. Focus on your country. Don't let these people destroy your children's futures. Do not let these people destroy your own lives today. Hold them to account. Do not be shy to kick them out of office. Do not make them feel guilty for kicking them out of office. Get them out. If they're not performing, get them out. It's as simple as that. So South Africans need to learn that lesson and say there is no leader who's going to do the right thing on their own accord, no matter what country it is. I see it where you are in the UK. the Conservatives are out. Even before the Conservatives were out, there was this COVID controversy about Boris Johnson. He was kicked out, someone else came. So yes, that's how we should be doing things here in Zimbabwe and in South Africa. If a leader fails to deliver, if they do anything that you consider to be, untoward, get them out. Don't hesitate. Don't feel guilty. Don't make them feel guilty. Don't make them make you feel guilty about holding them to account. That's our job as citizens. That's why I do the things that I do. I write the stuff that I write. I don't hate those that are in power. I don't know them on a personal level. Why should I hate them? But I want to hold them to account. That's my role as a citizen. And it's not just my role. It's for the 15 million of us in Zimbabwe. That's our role. Hold those that are in power. South Africa, I think there are 49 million or something like that. All of you, each and every one of you, you have the responsibility to hold those that are in power accountable. Even if you are in the ANC, hold those that are in power accountable. As I gave the example of Boris Johnson, he was kicked out by his own conservative party members, comrades, whatever we call them, colleagues. Do the same. You say, we love ANC. This is the party of liberation. This is the party of democracy. So you guys, you are now going against the values of Albert Letuli and others who founded this party. What you are doing now is not what our fathers and mothers, our grandfathers fought for. So step aside. But sadly, we are seeing this Zimbabwean culture also rearing its ugly head in South African politics. We saw that with Jacob Zuma. We are seeing it even today. It's shocking where we are taking this country, South Africa, beautiful country, well-developed country, and yet we want to take it the same path as Zimbabwe. It's unfortunate that most people, when they see South Africans themselves, they cannot believe or even imagine that country, sinking into poverty. But I need to remind them as a Zimbabwean, before 1980, Zimbabwe was one of the most developed countries in Africa. It was a jewel of Africa, as Julius Nyerere once called it. We are the best of everything, high standards of everything. Even our education, our schools, our industries were the biggest producers of nearly everything you could talk of. We produced nearly everything right here in this country. No one would have ever imagined that we would sink to this level that we have sunk today. But it happened. Here we are without a train. My son has never seen a passenger train. He destroyed National Railways of Zimbabwe. Gone. Zisco still nearby where I am right now, which used to be one of the biggest iron and steel makers on the continent. It's gone. It's closed, shut down. So it can happen to South Africa. It can easily happen to South Africa if they are not careful. So it's up to the people of South Africa to hold their leaders to account.
Michelle's a mom who traded in her Fiat 500 for this beast right here. But why the momentous move, huh?
I needed something bigger to keep up with my growing son and his many sports bags.
When you traded in your car with WeBuyCars, was it an easy conversion?
I see what you did there. The process was just so easy. I was given a tablet, had to sign, and that was it.
Basically, WeBuyCars is no mess, no fuss. Okay, it was nice chatting. WeBuyCars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Tendai, can we talk about Zimbabwe on the international front? It seems Zimbabwe is trying to clear up its image there and have closer relationships. I saw at Davos, there was a Zimbabwean businessman, Lawrence Nyazema. He said the country's desire to re-engage with the global community after years of economic isolation, and he proposed a sort of Team Zimbabwe approach. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's good if we want to develop the country. But you cannot develop the country at Davos. You cannot develop the country in New York or in London. We start here. So if you are going to go to Davos and speak all fancifully about wanting to develop the country, to re-engage the international community, to re-engage multilateral institutions, that is well and good. But it has to start here. As I said, Zimbabwe is already a rich country. We are making billions of dollars from our natural resources. If we don't hold our leaders to account to ensure that those natural resources are equitably distributed, responsibly used within this country, no amount of noise that you make in Davos is going to change anything. No amount of re-engagement with the Western world, with the United States, with Great Britain, with anyone is going to change anything. As long as we ourselves who are here in Zimbabwe make the deliberate decision to be faithful, to be good stewards with the resources that we have. We can just, development, charity starts at home. I believe that's what it's called. Charity begins at home. So begin here. Let's see the effort to make Zimbabwe develop here in Zimbabwe. Then we can take our message out there and say, look at what we are already doing. Come and invest. Come, let's work together. Come, help us develop our country. But look at what the efforts that we are already putting in place. That's why you'll find most of the investors in Zimbabwe these days, in the past 20 years, they're from China. I'm not saying the Chinese are bad. They're investing all over the world. Even recently, the UK Prime Minister was in China. It's good. But if you have a weak leadership in a country, they can invite the wrong Chinese, the wrong investors. So re-engagement can be good and can be dangerous. Right now, we're having a lot of Chinese who are here in Zimbabwe. They're busy destroying everything. I don't think that's what they're doing in South Africa. I don't think that's what they're doing in wherever else they're investing. But when they come here, they're the ones displacing our people. They're the ones poisoning our rivers. They're the ones, mutilating our mountains, paying paltry salaries. Some are even paid $100 a month. And you might even get that salary after 5 months without being paid. Is that what these Chinese people are doing in South Africa, in Zambia, all over the world? I think not. So why? Why Zimbabwe? Why are they doing it here? It's because we've got a weak leadership. We've got a corrupt leadership. They are being allowed to do whatever they are doing because they are benefiting also from what the Chinese are doing. They're getting something out of it, those that are in power. So they attract the wrong type of investors. So we can go to Davos and speak about re-engagement, speak about Zimbabwe is open for business, we're encouraging investors. But I believe if you've got a corrupt government in power, they would never want an honest business person to come here. Because first of all, you'll be requested to pay a few million so that you can have access to one or two powerful individuals. If he says, no, that's not how I do business, that is effectively closed. He's not going to invest in Zimbabwe. So the type of business people that they attract here are those that are willing to pay bribes. Give this official this amount, give this official this amount, it allows you to meet this one gives you a license, and so forth. So we end up with the type of business people that I'm talking about, who don't care what they do, and they're never held to account. You report to the police, you report to the authorities, they do not act because they know that these business people are linked to those that are in power. So, and I do not believe Zimbabwe is open to honest business people. I believe Zimbabwe is open to crooks. And we are seeing those crooks coming in their droves. They are here and they are destroying our country. They are looting our country. And in a 10 or 20 years' time, they will leave and leave us with nothing except holes and poisoned water. So it's sad that we can go to Davos and act as if we really are interested in serious investment, but we're not. Until we are honest with ourselves, we can never be honest with the rest of the world.
Well, Tendai Ruben Mbofana, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate it.